Two guys walk into the same dealership on the same Saturday afternoon. Same car, same model, same trim, same color. One of them signs a lease. The other signs a loan. They both drive off the lot convinced they outsmarted the other guy. They're both wrong, because neither of them ran the actual numbers past month one. The guy who leased is paying $299 a month and feeling light on his feet. The guy who bought is paying $522 a month and already wondering if he made a mistake. And for 3 full years, it looks like the leaser made the smarter call. His payment is lower, his car is always under warranty, and he never worries about depreciation because the car was never really his to begin with. But somewhere around year 4, something flips. Quietly, almost invisibly. And by year 10, the gap between these two people isn't a few $1,000s. It's $15,000 to $25,000. Over a lifetime of repeating this cycle, it's 6 figures. And the person who comes out ahead is not the one you'd guess if you're only looking at the monthly payment. My name is Andy, and this is Andy Explains Money. Let's set it up properly. Jake and Marcus both earn $55,000 a year. They both want the same car, a $30,000 sedan. They walk into the dealership on the same day, sit across from the same salesman, and look at the same vehicle on the showroom floor. Jake signs a 36-month lease, $2,000 due at signing, $299 a month. The salesman tells him he's getting a great deal, low monthly payment, brand new car, full warranty coverage, and in 3 years he can just hand the keys back and walk away. Simple, clean, no strings attached. At least, that's how it sounds sitting in that chair under the fluorescent lights with the coffee they gave you going cold on the desk. Marcus takes out a 60-month auto loan at 6% interest. His down payment is $3,000 and his monthly payment is $522. That's $223 more than Jake, every single month. The salesman doesn't need to say anything. Marcus can feel that difference already. On day 1, Jake's pockets are heavier, his payment is lighter, and he's driving off the lot feeling like he found the cheat code. Marcus is doing mental math in his head, trying to convince himself that 5 years isn't really that long. But there's something Jake doesn't realize yet. The structure of his deal is fundamentally different from Marcus's in a way that goes far beyond the monthly number on the contract. Every dollar Marcus spends is buying him a piece of something. Every dollar Jake spends is renting a piece of something. And that distinction, renting versus owning, compounded over 5 years, 10 years, a lifetime of car decisions, is worth tens of thousands of dollars. For 3 years, Jake is living the good version of car ownership. Brand new car. That new car smell that slowly fades into a pleasant memory. Full manufacturer warranty covering everything that matters. Something goes wrong mechanically. Covered. Brake pads wear down. Covered. The air conditioning dies in the middle of July. Covered. Jake's only costs are his lease payment, insurance, and gas. No surprises. No anxiety. No $1,800 repair bill showing up on a random Tuesday to ruin his week. Marcus is having a different experience. He's paying $522 every month and watching his car lose value in real time. The moment he drove off the lot, his $30,000 car was worth about $27,000. By the end of year 1, it's down to roughly $23,000. By year 2, maybe $20,000. Meanwhile, his loan balance is still sitting at around $22,000. That means for the first 2 years, Marcus owes more than his car is worth. There's a term for this. It's called being underwater, and psychologically, it feels terrible. Every payment feels like it's going into a hole. You're working to pay off something that's worth less than what you owe on it. Jake sees this. Marcus's friends see this, and the verdict seems obvious. Jake made the smart call. Marcus is the cautionary tale. Let's run the actual numbers through year 3. Jake is paid $2,000 down plus 36 months at $299 a month. That's $12,764 total. Marcus has paid $3,000 down plus 36 months at $522. That's $21,792 total. Jake has spent $9,028 less than Marcus, nearly $10,000 less. On paper, at the end of year 3, Jake is winning, and it's not close. But year 3 is exactly where the story takes a turn that the monthly payment conversation completely hides. Jake's lease is up. He drives back to the dealership, parks the car, and walks inside. He has 3 options. Option 1. Buy the car at its residual value, the predetermined price the dealer set at the start of the lease. For a $30,000 car after 3 years, that's usually around $16,000 to $18,000. Option 2. Walk away, hand back the keys, owe nothing, own nothing. Option 3. Lease a brand new car and start the whole cycle over again. New contract, new payment, new 3-year clock. Jake does what 80% of leasers do. He leases again. New car, new smell, another $2,000 at signing, another $299 a month, another 36 months. He's back to month 1. The odometer reads 0. The payment counter doesn't reset. It just keeps climbing. Now look at Marcus. He's 36 months into a 60-month loan. He still has 24 payments left. 2 more years of writing that $522 check. That's frustrating. But here's the difference that changes everything. Marcus has an end date. It's circled on the calendar. Month 60. Every single payment he makes brings him 1 step closer to owning this car outright. No more monthly payments, no more interest, just a title with his name on it and a car in his driveway that he owns free and clear. Every payment Jake makes brings him 1 step closer to giving the car back and starting over. This is the fundamental structural difference between leasing and buying that the monthly payment conversation completely obscures. One is a conveyor belt. You ride it, you step off, and you get right back on. The other has a finish line, and what happens after the finish line is where all the money is made. Month 60. Marcus makes his final payment. Done. The car is his, title in hand. From this point forward, Marcus's only car-related costs are insurance, gas, and maintenance. For an average sedan, that maintenance runs about $100 to $250 a month. Oil changes, tires, brakes, the occasional repair. Maybe $150 a month on average. Jake is still swiping his card for $299 every month. He's on lease number 2 now. He doesn't think about it much because it's just become part of his life. The payment is automatic. It comes out on the 15th. He barely notices it. And that's the danger of leasing that nobody warns you about. It normalizes a permanent car payment. The payment becomes background noise, part of the scenery, something that's just always there, like a utility bill. But background noise still costs money. $299 a month in background noise is $3,588 a year. Over a decade, that's $35,000 in payments that bought you exactly nothing. Let's check the scoreboard at the end of year 6. Jake has completed 2 full lease cycles. His total spend? $2,000 down on lease 1, $10,764 in payments. $2,000 down on lease 2, $10,764 in payments. That's $25,528. He owns nothing. No asset, no title, no trade-in value. Just a stack of receipts and a car that belongs to the leasing company. Marcus has spent $3,000 down plus $31,320 in loan payments. That's $34,320 total over 5 years on the loan, plus roughly $1,800 in maintenance during year 6 when the warranty expired. Call it $36,120 total. He now has 0 monthly car payments and owns a vehicle worth approximately $11,000 to $13,000. If we subtract Marcus's asset value from his total spend, his effective cost of 6 years of car ownership is around $23,000 to $25,000. Jake, $25,528 spent, 0 assets. Marcus, roughly $24,000 effective cost and a paid-off car in his driveway. The flip happened quietly. No dramatic moment. No obvious turning point you could see from the outside. Just the slow, steady math of ownership gradually overtaking the short-term advantage of lower payments. And from here, every single month that passes makes Marcus's position stronger and Jake's weaker. Because Marcus's big expenses are behind him. Jake's never end. Now, let me talk about something the dealership definitely won't slide across the desk alongside that attractive monthly number. The hidden costs of leasing. The $299 payment is the number you see. It's the number on the commercial, the number on the website, the number written on that little card the salesman pushes toward you with a pen. What they don't push toward you is the list of conditions attached to that number. Mileage caps. Most standard leases allow 10,000 to 12,000 miles per year. That sounds reasonable until you look at the data. The average American drives about 13,500 miles per year. That means the average driver is over their mileage limit before the lease even ends. The penalty is typically 15 to 25 cents per mile over the cap. If you drive 5,000 miles over your limit across a 3-year lease, which the average American will, that's $750 to $1,250 due on the spot when you return the car. And you don't find out the exact amount until the end. It just shows up on your final bill like a surprise tax you can't argue with. Wear and tear charges. The dealership inspects the car when you bring it back. That door ding from the grocery store parking lot. The coffee stain on the back seat from the morning you hit a pothole. The curb rash on the front wheel from that one parallel parking attempt you don't talk about. All billable. And normal wear and tear is defined by the leasing company, not by you. What you consider a minor scuff from 3 years of actually driving a car, they might consider a $300 charge. Disposition fees. Most people don't even know this exists until they see it on their final statement. When you return a leased car, and don't lease another one from the same dealer, you're charged a disposition fee, typically $300 to $500, just for them to process and resell the vehicle. You're literally paying them to take the car back. A car that was never yours, that you maintained, insured, and made payments on for 3 years. And now you're paying a fee to return it. And if your life changes mid-lease, you move to a city with public transit and don't need a car, you lose your job, your family situation shifts, you need a bigger vehicle because a baby arrived. Getting out of a lease early is brutal. You could owe the entire remaining balance. There's no simple exit, no flexibility. You're locked into a contract that assumes your life won't change for 36 months. And life, as a general rule, doesn't care about your lease terms. These costs don't show up in the $299. But they show up eventually. And when they do, that low monthly payment suddenly doesn't look quite as low. Now let me be fair about the other side, because buying has real costs that the buy and hold crowd likes to downplay, and I'm not going to do that here. Once that manufacturer warranty expires, usually around year 3 or 4, everything is on you. Brakes wear out, tires need replacing, belts crack. The AC compressor fails on the hottest day of the year, because car problems have an almost supernatural ability to find the worst possible timing. And unlike a leased car under warranty, there's no one to call. You're either paying the mechanic or learning to fix it yourself. For a typical sedan, maintenance costs average around $1,200 to $1,800 a year once you're past warranty. Some years it's just oil changes and new tires. Maybe $600 total. Other years, it's a $2,000 transmission repair that empties your emergency fund and ruins your month. The unpredictability is the part people struggle with. At least with a lease, you know what you're paying every month. With an older owned car, you're rolling the dice every time you turn the key. And depreciation is real. Your $30,000 car is worth $20,000 after 2 years, and maybe $12,000 after 5. That value didn't go anywhere useful. It just evaporated. You can't stop depreciation. You can't negotiate with it. You can only outlast it. Because here's the part the depreciation argument always leaves out. Depreciation slows down dramatically after the first few years. A 5-year-old car doesn't lose value nearly as fast as a brand new one. The steepest part of the depreciation curve is the first 3 years, which is exactly the period a lease covers. Leasers are paying for the most expensive years of depreciation and then handing the car back right when the curve flattens out. Buyers eat that steep depreciation too, but they also get the benefit of the flat years afterward, when the car barely loses value but keeps running. Time is the buyer's best friend. The longer you hold a paid-off car, the cheaper it gets per year of ownership. The longer you lease, the more expensive it gets, because you're perpetually paying for the steepest part of the curve over and over again. Here's where the full story comes together: the 10-year scoreboard. Over 10 years, Jake has leased 3 to 4 cars. Each cycle costs him roughly $12,000 to $13,000 in payments and signing fees. Add in mileage overages, wear and tear charges, and disposition fees across multiple leases, and Jake's total 10-year spend lands somewhere between $45,000 and $52,000. At the end of year 10, Jake has a car, but it's not his. It never was. It never will be. He's renting transportation on a rolling 3-year contract with no end in sight. Marcus paid $34,320 for his loan. After the loan was paid off, he spent approximately $10,000 to $14,000 on maintenance and repairs over the next 5 to 7 years of ownership. His total 10-year spend is roughly $44,000 to $48,000. And he still has a car sitting in his driveway. Older, sure, not as shiny as Jake's latest lease, but worth $4,000 to $6,000 and fully paid for. No monthly payment, no contract, no strings. When you net it out, Marcus spent less and has an asset. Jake spent more and has nothing. The difference over a single decade is somewhere between $15,000 and $25,000, depending on the specific lease terms, maintenance luck, and how long Marcus keeps the car. And that's just one car. One 10-year cycle. Most people will repeat this decision 3, 4, 5 times over their adult life. Multiply that gap by 5, and you're looking at a 6-figure difference in lifetime wealth between someone who habitually leases and someone who buys and holds. Not from salary differences, not from investment genius, from a single recurring decision about how they pay for transportation. Now, I'd be dishonest if I said leasing never makes sense. There are specific situations where the math genuinely tilts in leasing's favor, and you should know what they are. If you're self-employed or own a business, lease payments can be partially or fully deductible as a business expense, depending on how the vehicle is used. That tax advantage can erase the ownership gap entirely, and in some cases, make leasing the clearly smarter move from a net cost perspective. If you drive a luxury or high-performance car, something where out-of-warranty maintenance is genuinely brutal, leasing keeps you permanently inside the warranty window. When an oil change costs $500 and a brake job costs $4,000, that warranty coverage has real dollar value. Leasing a BMW is a fundamentally different financial conversation than leasing a Honda Civic. And if you're the kind of person who takes the $223 a month you save by leasing over buying and puts every single dollar of it into an index fund averaging 8 to 10% annually, and you actually do this every month for years without touching it, you could theoretically close the gap or even come out ahead over a long enough timeline. But that requires a level of discipline that most people simply do not maintain. Be brutally honest with yourself about whether you'd actually invest that money, or whether it would quietly disappear into dinners, upgrades, and purchases you wouldn't even remember a year later. For the average person, driving an average car in an average financial situation, buying and holding wins. It's not the exciting answer. Nobody's making content about how they drove a paid-off 2019 sedan to financial independence. But the math doesn't care about excitement. The math cares about what you spend, what you own at the end, and what the gap between those two numbers does to your net worth over time. Jake and Marcus both walked into that dealership thinking they were making the smart play. Jake thought he was saving money with a lower payment. Marcus thought he was building equity by owning the asset. Neither of them actually sat down and ran the numbers past month one. Here's what the numbers say. In the short term, leasing feels cheaper. In the medium term, the gap closes. In the long term, buying wins. And it wins by a margin that's hard to argue with once you see the full picture. The real trap isn't leasing, and it isn't buying. The real trap is making a $30,000 decision based on a monthly payment without ever asking what this actually costs you over 5 years, 10 years, a lifetime of car decisions stacked on top of each other. The next time someone slides a monthly payment across a desk and it looks almost too good to be true, ask yourself one question. What does this actually cost me when it's all over? Because the monthly payment is the number they want you to see. The total cost is the number that determines your financial future. And those two numbers are almost never the same. Subscribe to Andy Explains Money if you want the next breakdown. I'll see you there.